In this video, we will cover the electrical systems associated with my latest build. If you haven't seen it yet, I recommend checking it out first. I'll put a link to it in the description below. Each of the systems shown will distribute leftover power to a backup battery so that they can run all day, all night, or stay on for a while in case your power source is destroyed. The first system we'll set up includes the CCTV cameras, helipad landing lights, and control panel for the garden. The second electrical system will provide power to 4 inward-facing Autoturrets, which will reside on top of each external TC. Before we get started, here's what you'll need for the first system. To begin, we'll place all deployable items into the respective locations. I recommend placing the first set of components on the open wall space above the locker. The counter is optional. In this scenario, I'm using it to show how much power is available for use from the wind turbine. Place 2 electrical branches. Then place a blocker. Next, add an OR switch. Now add 4 more electrical branches. Add another electrical branch here, then place an RF receiver nearby. Head up to the second floor. Add 3 electrical branches above the computer station. The cameras will route through these. Next, head to the front bedroom and place both pumps and a switch. Add a ceiling lamp to the center of the roof in the garden room, then place 2 sprinklers as shown. You can put these on the ceiling if you prefer. Our medium battery was placed in the first episode and is used to access the upper levels of base. I like to place a timer on the shooting floor. This timer will be linked to our RF transmitter and will control the helipad lights. Place all 6 blue lights on the helipad. On the ground level out front, we'll first add a water catcher. Make sure you don't place it too far away from the front bedroom, as it'll need to be linked to one of the pumps inside. Add a large furnace on the other side of base if you'd like. Alright, now create a temporary staircase to the top of the tower. To place the first camera, which will face the front of base, you'll need to place a temporary floor here. Doing so will give you the best angle to place and aim the camera. After adding the camera, equip your hammer, crouch, then look up at the camera and adjust its angle. You can always change the angle of each camera later on if you need to, so keep that in mind. Once you've added all 4 cameras, go to the roof of the tower and place the wind turbine. I like to add low walls around the top of the tower. Now let's run our first wire. We'll run it from the wind turbine's power out to the counter's power in. Running wires back and forth can be very time consuming, especially if you're trying to make it look acceptable. How you run the wires is completely up to you, but I'll give you a couple of different examples throughout this video showing exactly how I ran them. If you are using a counter, run the wind turbine's wire to it. Set the counter to show pass-through, and then run a wire from the counter to our first electrical branch. If you're not using a counter, you can run the wire from the wind turbine directly to this branch instead. Set the first branch to 45. Run a wire from the branch out over to input A on the OR switch. Then run the first branch's power out to the second branch's power in. Set the second branch to 2. Run a wire from the branch out to the block pass-through. Then connect the second branch's power out to the medium battery's power in. Now take the medium battery's power out and plug it into the power in on the blocker. The blocker's power out can now be wired to input B on the OR switch. We'll go ahead and set the power values for all 4 branches on the right side of the OR switch. For the first one, set it to 3. For the second, set it to 23. For the third, set it to 10. And for the fourth, you can leave it at 2. Take the OR switch's power out and connect it to the branch shown. Now run the branch out to the front bedroom and connect it to the switch's input. Run the output of the switch over to the garden and connect it to the ceiling lamp. To power the next branch, connect the first branch's power out to the second branch's power in. This is called daisy chaining. This branch will power our CCTV cameras. We need to evenly distribute the power available from this branch to each camera. To do so, run a wire from the branch out up to the first branch we placed above the computer station. Having the branches here will make wiring each camera a little bit faster, as you don't have to go into the core each time. It also allows us to run wire further than if we had started in the core. Now set all 3 of these branches to 5. Now connect power to all 4 cameras. Connect the second branch to the third branch in the core. Then run the branch out over to the branch on this wall. Connect the branch out to the RF receiver's power in. You can leave this branch at 2. Now run a wire from the RF receiver up to the timer that we placed on the shooting floor. You'll want to connect the wire to the toggle on port. The electrical input can now be ran down to the core. Plug it into the branch's power out. Don't forget to set the RF receiver's frequency. Make it whatever you'd like, then match the frequency on your RF transmitter. Now from the timer's power out, run a wire out to the helipad and connect it to the first light, then daisy chain the remaining lights together. We have one more branch to utilize in the core. This branch will power both water pumps for the garden. Using this electrical branch, connect the branch out to pump 1 and the power out to pump 2. Pump 1 on the left will provide the sprinklers with water from the water barrel. Pump 2 on the right will push water from the water catcher outside into the water barrel inside. Connect the second pump's fluid output to the top of the water barrel. Now run a hose from the second pump's fluid input to the water catcher outside. Connect the water barrel to the first pump's input. Then run a hose from the output over to the first sprinkler. To connect the second sprinkler, use the first sprinkler's pass-through. As you can see, there is no water being sent to the barrel right now. To begin siphoning water from the water catcher outside, turn on the second pump. Let this pump run 24/7 so that you're continuously transferring water into the barrel. When you have water available in the water barrel, you can turn on the sprinklers. If you live close to a water source, you can quickly fill up a water barrel by transferring water into it with a container as demonstrated. If you live near salt water, consider having a water purifier around. Put the composter to work to create some fertilizer. Add fertilizer to the planter box. Now begin planting whatever seeds you'd like in your garden. Turn on the sprinklers to saturate the garden bed. Make sure to turn the sprinkler's pump off once you've finished watering. Our second electrical system will provide power to 4 auto turrets on top of each external TC. We'll use a large battery to keep them up and running at night. Here's what you'll need. I recommend using this wall and the core to place the initial components required for this system. Add an electrical branch, counter, 2 more branches, a blocker, and finally an OR switch. Add 2 switches wherever you'd like. One will control the garage doors, and one will control the auto turrets. I like to place them on the second floor as it's close to the computer station, which makes flipping them on fast when you spot someone on camera. This next part is very important. You'll want to place the remaining electrical branches in the exact locations shown. It's crucial that you do this, as you can only run a wire so far. If you fail to place these in the correct spots, you will not have enough wire available to connect the auto turrets or door controllers. I struggled with finding the best spots for these, but after hours of experimenting, I could finally say these are the best spots that I could find, and they provide you with just enough wire to reach the areas needed. For the last set, there's no good spot left to place them inside. I tried placing them in the core, but you will not have enough wire to reach the turret or door controller if you do that. With that being the case, I decided to hide this set underneath the staircase shown to conceal them as best as possible. Now head to the shooting floor and place all 5 root combiners on this wall. Add a large battery here. Head outside and get on top of the shooting floor's roof. Place all 6 solar panels the best you can. You can stack them or spread them out. Your choice. Okay, let's head out front and place the necessary walls, wall frames, auto turrets, door controllers, and garage doors. I'm going to show you how I do one of these, and then we'll speed through the next 3, because they are the exact same process. You may need to use temporary twig foundations to access the top of the other TCs, so keep that in mind. Once finished, make your way back to the roof of base to begin wiring each solar panel to provide power for this electrical system. To do so, run a wire from each solar panel into the top 3 root combiners we placed earlier. You will need to add 2 solar panels per root combiner. After routing all 6 wires from the solar panels to the power in ports of the top 3 root combiners, you'll have 2 root combiners left. Now we need to combine all of the available power into one power source. First, take the combined power out of the top left combiner and plug it into the bottom left combiner. Do the same for the center one. Attach the bottom left combiner's power out to the bottom right root combiner. Then finally, plug in the top right's combined power out to the last available power in found on the bottom right root combiner. We now have all of the power generated from our solar panels linked together to create one power source. Run a wire from the combined power out of the very last root combiner all the way down to the core of base. Plug the wire into the counter. If you decide to skip using a counter here, the wire will go directly into the first electrical branch on the right side of the counter. Before we wire up this panel, I had my notes a bit mixed up and ended up setting 2 of the branches to the incorrect numbers. No big deal, as I caught the mistake at the end and will share it with you so you don't make the same mistake. For the first branch here, I originally set it to 72, when in fact it needs to be set to 66. Daisy chain the power out to the next branch. Wire the branch out to input A on the OR switch. Leave this branch at 2, run the branch out down to the blocker's block pass-through. Now run the power out from this branch up to the large battery's power in. While you're up here, take a wire from the large battery's power out back down the same exact way you came and plug it into the blocker's power in. Take the blocker's power out over to input B of the OR switch. Run a wire from the OR switch over to the last available electrical branch we placed on this wall. I originally set this branch to 47, but it actually needs to be set to 50. Run a wire from the branch out on the far left up to the very first switch. This switch will control the auto turrets. Now run a wire from the far left branch's power out up to the second and last switch, which will control our garage doors. Before running any wires outside, we will wire what we can inside. I recommend leaving both switches in the on position while you complete the next steps so that your turrets turn on right after you wire them up. Take a wire from the auto turret switch to the first electrical branch placed in the garden room. Plug it into the one on the right side. We'll use the one on the left to power the door controllers. Do the same for the remaining branches. Each branch on the right will route to the closest turret, and the one on the left will route to the closest door controller. Make sure that each auto turret branch is set to 11. Daisy chain the next branch by running a wire from the branch's power out to the next branch's power in. Daisy chain this branch to the one found in the front bedroom. For the last branch, run a wire from here all the way to the one found on the right side of the staircase. Now let's wire up the next switch to control the garage doors using the same exact daisy chain method shown. Attach a cable from the switch to the first branch in the garden room, then near the front door, then in the front bedroom, and finally underneath the staircase outside. Each door controller branch should be set to 2. Now we'll wire up all of the auto turrets and door controllers. Let's start in the garden room. Run the first branch to the door controller on the right side of base. As you can see when placing, you don't have much wire left to run. The same thing will happen for the auto turrets as well. After connecting the wire to the door controller, pair the door. Remember, you will not be able to pair the door if it has a lock on it, so make sure you remove that first. To successfully pair the door, you will need to get inside and close it first. Add a weapon and ammo to the auto turret, and have a teammate watch over the turret as you run the wire inside, if at all possible. These same exact steps will be used for the remaining auto turrets and door controllers. Work your way around base until you complete all 4. The last and final turret at the back of base is a little different since the branches are not inside, but it's the easiest of them all, since you have a little bit more wire to work with as opposed to the others. Don't forget to place locks on each of the garage doors once you've finished. That's it, guys. If you enjoyed the content, hit that like button. Subscribe to let me know you'd like to see more. And before you go, I want you to know that I appreciate you taking the time to watch my work. I hope that some of you learned a thing or two. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below, and I'll do my best to help.